Just give me 1 minute. Share screen. And we'll disable annotations. Okay, cool guys. So let's get started, right? So for the people who are on time, right? We started a little bit early. Okay. So for the people who joined in just now or maybe 1 minute back. So first of all, let me tell you guys the agenda for today's class and then we'll get started. Okay. So first of all, we will be taking a couple of questions on the portal. Okay. We'll be solving a couple of questions on one-dimensional arrays from the portal. Now, after we are done with that, right? So for the first 40-45 minutes, we will be doing problem solving. And after that, we will try to, introduce the concept of two-dimensional arrays and look further into it. Okay, cool. Can you just give the logic? नहीं, ऐसे मैं logic दूंगा तो तुम लोग नहीं सोचोगे, right? So you have to think about it, try to do it on a piece of pen and paper, struggle with it a little bit, okay? Anything that you get easily right, you won't be able to value it. First of all, try to spend some time and see what is the logic that you want to build, right? Okay, so let's get started with the first question. Okay, so the first question is pretty straightforward, right? It's from the portal itself, searching a number. Okay, so let's have a read at this question and we'll try to understand what this question actually wants to say and what is our thought process or logic behind this question. Okay, cool. Yes, Sonu, that's great. Okay, try to do, you will definitely be able to do, right? Okay, so let's read a question. Given an array ARR of n elements and an integer k. So what are we given? We are given an array of n elements. I have an array which is containing n elements in total. Okay, and I also have an integer k. I have been given an integer k. What is my task? Your task is to print the position of first occurrence of k in the given array. तो मेरे को क्या दिया? Try to understand. I have been given an array of integers, right? I have an array of size n available with me. And I have also been given an integer k. Okay. Now my task is to print the position of the first occurrence of k in the given array. So I have to search for k in the given array, and wherever k occurs the first time, I have to print the index of that particular position. Okay. And inside the note here, it is written, position of the first element is considered as 1. Now, can you tell me why they have mentioned it like a note here? Was this not obvious that the position of the first element is 1? No, it is not obvious, right? Because array indexing always starts from 0. Okay. But they have explicitly told that, boss, the position of the first element is to be considered as 1. So indexing is from 0. But when you give the answer of the position, you will have to give the answer in 1-based indexing. Okay. Now, let us look at the input format. Input. The first line contains two integers n and k. So see, the first line of input will give me two integers, n, which is the size of the array, and k, which is the number that I will be searching for. Okay. And the second line will contain n spaced integers, elements of ARR. So what is the first line of input? In the first line of input, you are getting n, which is the size of the array, and then you are getting k, which is the number you have to search for. Okay. So here, if you see sample input, okay, here if you see sample input, first number is 5. That means I am looking at an array of size 5. Okay, I will get an array of size 5. Okay. And then the second input is k, which is 16. That is, I have to search for 16 in my array. Okay. Now the second line of input will contain 5 space separated integers. Okay. 5 space separated integers, which are 9, 7, 2, 16, 4. Okay. So the user has given you these 5 inputs, and these are the elements of my array. So I have taken input of all the elements of the array. Okay. And now I have to search for the first occurrence of 16. K is equal to 16. That is, I want to search for the first occurrence of 16. So can anybody tell me, where does 16 occur for the first time? At what index do you think 16 occurs for the first time? Does everyone agree that at index number 3, 16 will occur for the first time? Okay. So ideally, I would have told you that, hey, Adarsh, go to index number 3. At index number 3 is your first occurrence of target. 16 is occurring for the first time at index number 3. But because the question is telling me position of the first element is considered as 1, so I will have to give the output as 4. Ki boss, at position number 4, this is position number 1, this is position number 2, position number 3, position number 4. Okay? Explain the question, definitely. So for people who have joined just now or maybe a little bit late, so the question states that you are given an array of n elements. Okay? So I have an array of n integers available with me. And I have been given an input of an integer k. Okay? And what is my task? My task is to print the position of the first occurrence of k. So wherever this integer k occurs first time, I will have to print the position of the first time occurrence of k. So, so consider it like this. So if you look at the input, right, the first line contains two integers n and k. So see, the first line of input will contain two integers. The first one is n and the second one is k. So I am looking at an array of size 5. And what is the element that I have to search for? K, which is 16. Okay. Now the second line contains n spaced integers elements of ARR. Now in the second line, you have been given the 5 elements of ARR, which is 9, 7, 2, 16, and 4. Okay. So once you have taken, the elements input for the array, now my question is, boss, I have to search for the first occurrence of 16. Okay. K ka value is 16. That means I want to search for the first occurrence of 16. So let me start searching for 16. Okay. So I start searching from here. I look at index 0. Is this equal to 16? No, not. Go to index 1. I go to index 1 and see. Is this equal to 16? No. I go to index 2 and see. Is this equal to 16? No. I go to index 3. I check. Is this equal to 16? The moment I see that this number has matched with 16, which was the target element that I was searching for, I know that this is the first occurrence of 16. So what I will tell, boss, 16 is occurring at index number 3 or position number 4. So I will print the output as 4. Okay. I will print the output as 4. The boss 16 is occurring for the first time at position number 4. And if you look at the explanation, k is equal to 16 is found in the given array at position number 4. Okay. And see guys, if you have multiple occurrences of 16, okay, if you have multiple occurrences of k, your task is to print the position of the first occurrence of k. So let's say if your array was of a larger size, right? And you were looking for 16 and there are more than one occurrence of 16, then you will come and ask me, hey Adarsh, 16 occurs at index 3 also and 16 occurs at index 5 also. So which occurrence will you report? I will say, boss, you have to report the first occurrence of 16. So the moment you see that you get the occurrence of 16, you don't have to search further in the array. You just have to stop your loop here and you will have to tell me that, hey, 16 is present at the 4th position or index number 3. Okay. Then the last question that you will have, what if you don't find this element k in my array? So if you don't find the element k in your array, then you have to print -1. See what is written? Print the position of the first occurrence of k, and if k is not present in the array, print -1. Okay. And see guys, what are these constraints? These constraints are telling you what is the size of input that you can expect. Your array size will be between 1 and 10 raised to 6. The number that you are searching for, right, that will be between 1 and 10 raised to 6. And all the array elements will also be between 1 and 10 raised to 6. Okay. So you don't have to worry about the constraints at this point of time, right? So when we discuss about time and space complexity, then the constraints will make more sense to you. But is the question clear to everyone? What is the question asking you to do? You have been given an array of n integers and you have an integer k. Now I want to search for this integer k in the array and I have to print the position where this integer k has occurred for the first time in the array. I am only interested in the first occurrence of integer k. Okay. Cool. So can anybody tell me what is the logic that you might take, right? Let us forget everything for the moment, right? So I am just focused on this problem. I am just focused on this problem. I have an array of integers, okay? 9, 7, 2, 16, 5, 8, and 16. Okay. I have these array of integers and my k is equal to 16. That is, I am searching for the first occurrence of 16 inside the array. Okay. So what is the logic that we can take? What is the logic that we can take? Let's move to the PPT. Here I'll not be able to draw very well. Please repeat the constraints. Shashikant, don't worry about the constraints at this point of time, right? When the time is right, I will explain to you what is the meaning of the constraints, right? So what is the question telling? Boss, you have an array of integers, right? Or let's call the array of integers like this, right? So let's say you have 8, 7, 16, 5, 4, 16, 5, 8. Okay. This is my array of integers. Okay. What is the size of this array? Can anybody tell me? What is the size of this array of integers that I have drawn for you now? What is the size of this array of integers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So there are 8 elements in this array of integers. So the size is 8. ARR.length will be 8, right? And I have been given the input of k as 16. That means I have to search for the first occurrence of 16. Okay. I will be searching for 16 in the array. And whatever is the first occurrence of 16, I will have to report that position to you all. Okay. Now, let's start, right? So in order for me, what will be my thought process? Ki boss, you have to search for a particular element in the array. So let us start searching. Right? So I start searching from the first position, that is index number 0. So first of all, I start at index 0. What is the element here? 8. Is it matching with 16? No, it is not matching with 16. So let us move further. I go to index number 1. Okay. What is the element at index 1? 7. Is 7 and 16 the same? No, it is not the same. So let me move further. I go to index number 2. Now guys, try to understand. When you come to index number 2, you see that the element at index number 2 is 16, which is equal to k. That means the element that you were searching for, 16, you have found the element here. Now tell me guys, do you need to search any further in this array? Do you need to move further in this array? No. Why? Because I am interested in the first occurrence of 16. जैसे ही मेरे को पता चल गया, boss, this is 16, I no longer want to search in the remaining part of the array because I was only interested in the first occurrence of my target. Okay. So I will say, boss, I have found my target. So I will simply break. I will come outside my loop and I will say, boss, you know what is my index? The first occurrence of 16 is at index number 2. Okay. So I will report the answer as the position of 16 will be 3. Okay. Because in the question note, it is given that the first occurrence should be treated as position number 1. So this is position 1, this is position 2, and this is position 3. Okay. Cool. If you want to find the second position or the second occurrence, right, then in this 16, you have to move more further, right? You will keep track. Okay, you have got one occurrence and then you will move further. Okay. So is the basic idea making sense? Yes, your answer will be I plus 1. And let's say you have the same array. Right? Or let's reduce the size of the array. And the target that I have got, right? I want to search for, let's say 10. I want to search for k equal to 10 in the array. So what I will do? I start searching. I first of all come to index number 0. Is this matching with target? No. I move to index 1. Is this matching with target? No. I move to index 2. Is this matching with target? No. I move to index 3. Is this matching with target? No. I move to index 4. Is this matching with target? No. And then I see that I have iterated through my entire array. Now, once you have iterated through the entire array and you did not get your target, then you will have to print -1. What does -1 indicate? That, boss, you did not find the target element in my array. There is no occurrence of target element in my array. Okay. Is this making sense, guys? The basic logic, what we are trying to do. Okay. So now let's try to write the code for this. So it's a very, very simple case of linear search, right? I can call this algorithm as linear search. I am searching for an element in my array. Okay. Linear search. I am searching step by step or one by one. I am iterating through all the positions of the array one by one and searching for my target inside the array. This is known as linear search. You are searching for a target inside your array. Okay. So let's quickly try to write the code for it. Okay. So first of all, what do I need? I need a scanner, right? Because the first line of input will tell me n and k. So first of all, let us make a scanner. Okay. Scanner sc is equal to new scanner system.in. Okay. So I have made a scanner object. I have made a scanner object available for taking inputs from the user. Now, what is the first two inputs that you are expecting? The first line of input will give you n and k. So let us take the first input will be n. So int n is equal to sc dot next int. I take n input from the user, which is the size of the array. And then the user will give input of k. So int k is equal to sc dot next int. Okay. So I have read the two integers input from the user. That is n and k I have read as input from the user. Okay. Now what will happen? The user will next give you n different numbers which you have to store inside an array. So first of all, let us make an array of size n. Okay. So int arr is equal to new int of size n. Okay. So I have made an array of size n. Okay, guys, is the font visible to everyone? Or do you want me to increase the size? It's visible, right? 16px was visible. Okay. Cool. So I have basically made an array of size n. Okay. I'll come to questions. Double type array. Google karo. Okay. Let's focus on the class, what we want to cover first, and then we can, try to take up more questions. Okay. So I have made an array of size n, right? Now what do I want to do? I want to take n inputs from the user. So let me take n numbers input from the user and store it in my array. So I will run a loop for int I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. So I will iterate over the array, and what will I do? ARR of I is equal to sc dot next int. Okay. So I will take input from the user and I will store the inputs in the array. Okay. So I will read all these n integers one by one and I will store it inside my array. So after line number 17, do you agree that you have your array available with you with all the numbers, and you also have k available with you, the target for which you have to do the searching? Do you agree? After line number 17, you have the entire array available with you, and you also know what is the number that I have to search for. Okay. So now let us try to search for k inside my array. Okay. I will start from 0, right? The first index is 0 in the array. Okay. So now let us make a variable int answer, and this will basically contain the position, okay, where I find my element or where I find my target. Okay. So I will first of all initialize answer with -1. See what have I done? Okay. In the problem, it should be Manish. Try to understand. There are two different things that we are talking about. It is telling me the position of the first element is to be considered as 1. Okay. मैं index 0 पे ही store करूंगा. But for my convenience, I have to print index 1 as position. Sorry, print index 0 as position number 1. Okay. So ultimately, the first element is still being stored at index 0 only. Okay. But when you print something, you will say that this number is at index 1. Sorry, position 1. Okay. So internally, nothing has changed. Your array is still starting from index 0 only. Okay. Now, so first of all, I have taken my answer and I have initialized my answer with -1. Now what I want to do? I want to iterate over the array. And I will search for target, which is k. So let us start moving in the array. Okay. Why -1? You will get the answer yourself. Okay. So let me start iterating over the array. For int I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Okay. So what will happen with this loop? I start iterating over the array. So first of all, I will be at index 0, then at index 1, then at index 2, then at index 3, then at index 4, likewise, so on. Okay. So I start iterating over the array. And when I am standing at index number I, what will I check? I will check if the element at index I, okay, ARR of I equal to k, okay, if the current element at index number I matches with the target that I am searching for, then do you agree with me that you have found the first occurrence of target? If ARR of I is equal to k, that means you have found the first occurrence of target, which is at index I. So what I will do? I will update my answer. Answer is equal to I. So I will store in answer the index. Okay. At this point of time, I am no longer considering positions, right? I am talking of pure indexes. Try to understand, guys, right? So what am I doing? I am iterating over the indexes one by one, right? From index 0 till the last index I will move, right? And I see that if ARR of I is equal to k, that means the current index that I am standing on, the element at that index matches with target. So what I will do? I will update my answer. Ki boss, answer is equal to I. Ki I am getting k at index number I. And then I will simply break. Now, why do I break, guys? Try to understand. I have broken out. Why have I written a break here? Because the first time you see that ARR of I is equal to k, you no longer need to iterate over the remaining part of the array. भैया आपको जैसे ही पहला occurrence मिला, you will record the index in your answer variable and you will simply break because you are interested in the first occurrence only. Okay. So now tell me, guys, now tell me, outside this for loop at line number 27, tell me what will be the value of answer if you don't find target. पहले मेरे को ये सोच के बताओ. What will be the value of answer if there is no occurrence of target in my array? सोच के बताओ. Look at the code and tell me what will be the value of answer if there is no occurrence of target. Do you all agree that answer will be -1 itself? See now, I have initialized answer with -1, right? And then you have iterated over the entire array. And if you don't get any occurrence of target, then you agree, right, that answer will not be updated and answer will remain -1 itself. Do you all agree with this? Let's try to take an example, right? So think of it, I'm trying to draw very small arrays, right? Let's say here you have 8, 7, and let's say 15. Okay. And what I have initialized my answer with -1. Okay. And what is my target? Let's say my target is 10. K is equal to 10. Okay. I don't know why I'm not able to write on the screen. Wait. I think let's, okay. Just give me 1 second. Okay. This is my array. Okay. And I have initialized my answer is equal to -1. Okay. And what is my k? Let's assume that k is equal to 10. That is, I am looking for 10. Okay. So what will I do? I start this array. I start this loop, right? So first of all, I value will be 0. So I am at index number 0. I check. Is 8 equal to 10? No, 8 is not equal to 10. I move forward. I come to index number 1. Is 15 equal to 10? No, I move forward. I come to index number 2. Is 5 equal to 10? No, I move forward. I comes here and then I will see that yes, I will terminate my for loop. So do you first of all agree that if your target is not present in the array, answer will not get updated and it will remain -1 as it is? Do you all agree? सोच के बताओ भाई. Do you all agree that answer will remain -1 itself? Okay. So first of all, what do I check? I check outside this loop, right? मैं check करता हूँ कि boss, if my answer equal to -1, outside this for loop I check. If my answer equal to -1, do you know the meaning of this? The meaning of this is that boss, you didn't have an occurrence of target in my array. Okay. So what should I print? I will simply print the boss, your target is not found. So you will system.out.println simply answer. Do you agree? Do you agree? If answer equal to -1, see, try to understand, right? First of all, you have initialized answer as -1. Okay. Then you iterate over the array. And if you find the occurrence of target, then you update your answer and simply break. तो ऐसा सोचो that if you don't get any occurrence of target, अगर तुमको target मिला ही नहीं array में, if you didn't get target in your array, then what will happen? Answer will remain at -1 only. Answer will never get changed. You will iterate through the entire array. You didn't find any occurrence of target. Answer will remain -1 itself. So outside this for loop, I first of all check. Boss, if my answer is equal to -1, then you didn't find any occurrence of target in the array. So I am just printing answer as it is, which will be -1. Do you all understand till here? We can derate real use print. No, I will tell you. I will tell you, right? Okay. Now tell me, do you all agree with this? That if the target is not present, then you will print -1 successfully. You have to print position, right? But if the element is not present, then you have to print -1. Okay? Not understand. Arey bhai, kyun nahi understand? Let's try to take it, right? See guys, try to understand what I am telling you. You have initialized your answer with -1. आपने आंसर को -1 के साथ इनिशियलाइज किया है. ओके. एंड देन यू आर इटरेटिंग थ्रू द एंटायर एरे. यू आर इटरेटिंग. एंड व्हेन आर यू अपडेटिंग आंसर? ध्यान से ये ब्लॉक को देखो. व्हेन आर यू अपडेटिंग द वैल्यू ऑफ आंसर? You are updating the value of answer only when you find an occurrence of k in the array. Do you agree? अरे भैया ऐसा सोचो, you have an array, right? Now you are iterating through the array and you never find an occurrence of k. So what will happen? If you never find an occurrence of k, then you will never enter inside this if block and answer will never get updated. So answer जो -1 था ना, that will remain as -1 only. Okay. So outside the for loop, if answer is -1, that means you didn't get an occurrence of k in the array. So I will simply print answer which is -1 to indicate that boss, you did not find the target element in the array. Shashikant, you can take any negative value, but it is given that boss, you have to take -1, right? Yes, definitely. Line number 27 is necessary. Okay. Now let's take another situation, right? Now, what happens if you find the occurrence of target? If you find the occurrence of target, let's say you are searching for 16. Okay. Let's say you are searching for 16. So what will happen? I start from index 0. Is this element equal to 16? No, this is not equal to 16. Okay. Then I come to index number 1. Is this element equal to 16? Yes, this element is equal to 16. So what will happen? I will update my answer ki boss, I have found an occurrence of k at index number 1. So answer will get updated as 1. And then I will simply break. I will simply break. Okay. I will simply break. So I will break out from this loop. Okay. So outside this for loop, now you will see that answer is containing a non-negative value. Okay, so answer is telling you, boss, at what index the first occurrence of k is present. But do you want to print answer as it is? No. Okay, you want to print answer +1 because answer is telling you the index, but I want to print the position, and it is told in the question that the 0th index is to be taken as the first position. Okay, so do you agree I can do something like this? I can introduce an else block here. Boss, outside the for loop, if my answer is not equal to -1, सोच के बताओ. Outside the for loop, if my answer is not equal to -1, then do you agree answer is storing the index at which k has occurred? Do you all agree? Do you agree? If answer is not equal to -1, then answer is containing the index at which I get the first occurrence of k. So what should I print? I should print system.out.println answer plus 1. Why have I print answer plus 1? Because answer is basically the index, okay? And it is telling me to print the position, and it is written that position of the first element is considered as 1. So I will print answer plus 1, okay? Now let's try to run this and see. Okay, put some inputs. Sure. Let's take an input, okay. Directly, can you print SOP I plus 1? See, if you directly print I plus 1 now, or if you directly print answer plus 1, then the problem is if your element is not present now, answer is minus 1 and you will print 0, which you definitely don't want, right? Now let's try to submit it and see. Okay, so all the test cases have passed, right? All the test cases have passed. Okay. So how many of you are clear with what we have done? Let me clean up the screen. Why can't we write like this? See, there can be multiple ways of doing the same question, right? ऐसा मत सोचो कि this I have written, so this is the only way of doing the question. You might come up with a different logic, right? The logic that I came up with, I initialized answer with -1. Then what have I done? I have iterated through the entire array. Okay, let me take a couple of examples to just dry run the problem. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, so let's say your array is something like this. Okay, this is my array and my k is equal to 20. Okay, so what is the dry run what is the logic that we have applied? I have first of all taken answer equal to -1. Now what am I doing? I am iterating through the array. So I will start at index number 0. What is the element at index 0? 8. Is 8 equal to 20? No, 8 is not equal to 20. So I will move forward. Okay, I come to index number 1. Is 15 equal to 20? No, I move forward. I come to index 2. Is 7 equal to 20? No, I come to index 3. Is 8 equal to 20? No, I come to index 4. Is 16 equal to 20? No, I come to index 5. Is 15 equal to 20? No, I come to index 6. Is 14 equal to 20? No. The moment you move forward, you see that yes, you have iterated through the entire array and now your for loop will be terminated. So outside the for loop, my answer will still remain as -1, indicating that boss, you did not find your target element, because if you would have find your target element, answer would have been updated. So outside the for loop, I checked, boss, if my answer equal to -1, that means I did not find my element k in the array. So I will do a system.out.println answer. I will print -1 to indicate that, boss, I did not find the element in the array. Now let's say that we were searching for 16. Okay, or let's say we're searching for 16. Okay, so what I will do, I start from index 0. The value of I is 0. Is 8 equal to 16? No, I come to index 1. Is 15 equal to 16? No, I come to index 2. Is 7 equal to 16? No, I come to index 3. Is 8 equal to 16? No, I come to index 4. Okay. Now, when I come to index 4, I see that 16 has matched with the target. So the moment you get a match, you will simply update your answer. Boss, answer is equal to nothing but I will update answer is equals to I. And what is the value of I? 4. And I will simply break. Why am I breaking? Because I am interested in the first occurrence of target. Okay, so I will simply break out of my array. Okay, I will break out of the for loop, and outside what I will see, answer is not equal to -1. That means answer is storing the index of the first occurrence. So you will simply print in the else part, boss, if answer is not -1, I will have to give the output as answer plus 1. Okay, because answer is the index, so answer plus 1 will be my position. Okay. Cool, guys. I think good enough time we have spent here. Okay. So I hope this is clear to everyone. Cool. So let's move further. There can be multiple ways of doing this, right? You can try it in your way also. Okay. So the next question that I want to do, right? 1 hour I had taken, but I would see that. Let's see. Okay. The second question that we want to do is divisible sum pairs. Okay. Divisible sum pairs. Okay. Second largest we'll do later. Okay. But the second question that we have to take is the divisible sum pairs. Okay. Now let's try to read at what this question is telling, and then we'll try to develop a logical understanding. Okay. Now, given an array of integers, okay, you have an array of integers and a positive integer k. क्या हो गया भाई? See, Anmol, you can try to think of in different methods, right? I am just telling you one simple way that I understand to solve it, right? Now you can think of in different ways, right? Any other logic that you are coming up with is fine, right? But yeah, ultimately the logic should be correct. Cool. So let's focus, right? Let's focus on this. Okay. Now, given an array of integers and a positive integer k, determine the number of I, j pairs in the array where I is less than j and ARR of I plus ARR of j is divisible by k. Let me take an example to make you guys understand the question. Okay. So the example array that is given to us is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Guys, please focus on the question that we are doing, right? And don't spam in the charts, right? We will do all the questions, right? Ultimately, whatever questions are there in your assignments, they will either be taken up in the doubt class or they will be taken up in the lecture class at the right time. Okay. Every question has a timing. Okay. So please focus on what we are doing, right? Otherwise, I'll be forced to disable the chats. Okay. तो अभी फोकस करो पहले जो क्लास पे चल रहा है उसके बाद we'll see. Okay. So you have been given an array of integers, right? Let's say you have this array as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is an array of integers of size 6. Okay. And k is equal to 5. Okay. They have given k as 5. Now, what I have to do is I have to determine the number of I, j pairs. I have to determine how many I, j pairs are there such that I is less than j and ARR of I plus ARR of j is divisible by k. Okay. So let us look, right? K is equal to 5. Okay. So if you look very carefully, right? If you look very carefully, this is index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, index 5. Okay. Now, इधर लिखा है कि boss 1,4 is one number. 1,4 is one number. Now see, this is one. See, if you look at 1,4, right? If you look at this pair 1,4, then 1 plus 4 is equal to 5 and 5 is divisible by 5. So this is one possible pair. So if I want to tell you I, j pair, then can I tell you 0, 3 is one pair? Dekh lo. First element is at index 0 and the second element is at index number 3. So 0, 3 will be one pair such that ARR of 0 plus ARR of 3 is divisible by k. Do you agree? What is this 1,4? Is it not index number 0, 3? Okay. This is my first pair of I, j. Index number 0, index number 3. Such that, see, I is less than j. 0 is less than 3. And ARR of I, that is ARR of 0, plus ARR of j, which is ARR of 3. If you do the summation of these two numbers, you will see that the sum is divisible by k, which is 5. Okay. Now, what is another pair? So this is one pair, right? 0, 3 is one pair. Another pair can be 1, 2. Do you agree? Another pair can be index number 1, 2. Look at this. 2, 3. If you look at these two numbers, right? If you add these two numbers, 2 plus 3 will be 5 and that is also divisible by 5. So 1, 2 is another pair that we are talking about. Similarly, if you look at this 3, 5, this is another pair. Look at index number 3 and index number 5, right? ARR of 3 plus ARR of 5 is equal to 10 and 10 is divisible by 5. So can I say that, boss, in this array, we are looking at three pairs. One pair is 0, 3. The second pair is 1, 2. And the third pair is 3, 5. These are the three pairs which meet this criteria. I, j, such that I is lesser than j and ARR of I plus ARR of j is divisible by k. Do you all agree? Are there any other pairs? Are there any other pairs? If I tell you, hey, this is also a pair, 5, 3. Is 5, 3 a valid pair? Is 5, 3 a valid pair? सोच के बताओ. Is 5, 3 a valid pair? No, right? See, I have to tell you the indices. I have to tell you the indices, right? I have to tell you pairs in the form of I, j, such that I is lesser than j. So 5, 3, if I tell you that boss, one pair is 5, 3, then that is not a valid pair, right? Because I is greater than j here. If I say you 5, 3, then first of all, you are telling me the larger index, and then you are telling me the smaller index. This is not valid, right? If at all this is a pair, you have to tell me 3, 5. The boss, index number 3 and index number 5, they basically form a pair. Okay, so I, j such that I is less than j, and ARR of I plus ARR of j is divisible by k. Okay, so let's take an example. Let's take another example to understand this question fully. Okay, so this is the input, right? What is the first line of input containing n and k? So n will tell me the size of the array, and k is this number with which you have to check the divisibility. Okay. I and j are indexes. Guys, the pairs that we are talking about, I, j, I and j are indexes. Okay. See, I, j pairs such that I is less than j. These are indexes. Okay. And the numbers at these indexes, ARR of I and ARR of j, their summation should be divisible by k. Okay. Let us look at the second example to understand it in more better way. Okay. So my array size is 6. And what are the 6 numbers? Let us write them down. 1, 3, 2, 6, 1, 2. This is the array that we are talking about. And what is k? K is equal to 3. Okay? K is equal to 3. Now let us try to understand what are the pairs that can contribute to our answer, right? So can I tell you, one pair that I can see is these two numbers. Dekho? See, if I take this number 2 and 1, right, 2, 1, their summation will be 3, which is divisible by k, which is 3. So can I say one pair can be, this is index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, index 5. So can I say 2, 4 is one valid pair? Do you all agree? 2, 4 is one valid pair. Dekh ke batao, guys. Do you agree that index number 2, index number 4 is a valid pair? Why not? Why not? जो लोग नो बोल रहे हैं, why not? Look at index number 2. Look at index number 4. 2 is less than 4. Yes. And the elements at index 2 plus element at index 4, they are adding up to form a summation of 3, which is divisible by k. Okay. How is I greater than j? Never. I ka value is 2, right? This is index number 2 and this is index number 4. Okay. So I is 2 and j is 4. So I is less than j, right? And the elements at these particular indexes, when you add them up, right, the summation is divisible by 3. Okay. So this is a valid pair. Can anybody tell me another pair? Look at 1, 3. Look at 1, 3. Do you agree 1, 3 is a valid pair? See, what is the element at index 1? 3. What is the element at index 3? 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. And 9 is divisible by 3. So definitely this is a valid pair. Okay. Another valid pair can be 0, 2. Do you all agree? Dekh lo. I and j. I is lesser than j. And if you add up the elements at the 0th and the 2nd index, you will see that 1 plus 2 is 3, which is divisible by 3. Okay. Any other pair? 4, 5. Correct. So 4, 5 is another pair that we are talking about. Any other pair? Any other pair? No? 0, 5? 0, 5 is another pair, right? So these are the 5 pairs that we are talking about. Okay. So my output should be 5. So basically I have to print the count of all the pairs that I can see. Kitna pair mere ko mil raha hai, mere ko ye batana hai. How many pairs I can get. Okay. So is the question making sense? What is the question asking us to do? Why 2, 4? Explain. Look at 2, 4. I am claiming that this is I and this is j. So first of all, tell me, is I less than j? Arey bhai, 2 is less than 4, right? 2 is less than 4. So I is less than j. And now let us look at the elements. What is ARR of 2? ARR of 2 is 2. Okay. What is ARR of j? ARR of 4? 1. What is 2 plus 1? 2 plus 1 is 3. And is 3 divisible by 3? Yes, 3 is divisible by 3. So definitely it is a valid pair. Okay. So my output should be 5 because I am talking about 5 different pairs in this array. Is the question clear to everyone? Is the question clear to everyone? क्या सबको question समझ आया है? Yes. Okay. Now, can you come up with a logic? Can you come up with a logic? So let me go to the PPT. 1, 3, 2, 6, 1, 2 is our array. Can anybody come up with a logic? How do I count the pairs? Nested loops will work, okay. That is fine. But what is the thought process, right? So first of all, I have to understand the thought process, right? तो भैया मेरे को एक चीज बताओ. What is a valid pair that I am looking at? Do you agree? A valid pair is I comma j if I is lesser than j, okay? And ARR of I plus ARR of j should be equal to k. This is the definition of a valid pair. Do you agree? A valid pair is index I comma j if I is lesser than j and ARR of I plus ARR of k is divisible by k. If it is divisible by k, okay. So what should be the condition for divisibility? Can I say this summation modulo k should be equal to 0? Do you agree? ARR of I plus ARR of j modulo k should be equal to 0. Then I can claim that yes, the summation is divisible by 0. Okay. So now let us try to see what all pairs are possible. What all pairs are possible. So first of all, I take a pointer I take a variable I, and I will fix I at index 0. So I have fixed my I at index number 0. Okay. So think of it, you have fixed I at index 0. Okay. Now, can you tell me what all are the elements that can participate with this index 0? What all are the possible pairs that you can make with index 0? 0, 1 can be one pair, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, 5. Do you agree? These are the valid pairs which satisfy this condition. Do you all agree? So what I will do is I start a pointer j. I start a variable j from I plus 1. So I come on index number 1 and I check. Boss, I is at 0 and j is at 1. That means I am observing this particular pair 0, 1. So I check. What is ARR of I plus ARR of j? 1 plus 3, which is 4. And is 4 divisible by k? No. So definitely this is not a valid pair that I am looking at. So 0, 1 is not a valid pair. So I will move my j further. Okay. So now I will change my second pair. Okay. See, I have fixed I at index number 0. मैंने पहले इंडेक्स को फिक्स कर दिया है. मैंने फिक्स कर दिया कि पहला इंडेक्स 0 है. So I am then checking what all can be my good second indexes. Okay. So now j comes to index number 2. J comes to index number 2. Okay. Now see guys, I is still lesser than j, right? So no problem in this front. No problem in this front. So I will again check. ARR of I plus ARR of j. What is this? 1 plus 2, which is 3. And is 3 divisible by 3? Yes, it is. So can I claim to you this is one valid pair? 0, 2 is one valid pair. Can I say? Can I say yes? So what I will do? I will do a count plus plus. So now my count will become 1. Ki boss, I have found one valid pair 0, 2. Okay. Next, I will move j forward. I will move j forward. Now j comes to index number 3. Okay. Now, look at 0, 3, right? When I is at 0 and j is at index 3, I will do ARR of I plus ARR of j. 1 plus 6 is 7. Is 7 divisible by 3? No. So definitely this is not a valid pair. Let us move forward. I will move j forward. J comes at index number 4. That means I am now looking at the pair 0, 4. Okay. 1 plus 1. What is 1 plus 1? 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay. Sir, index 4 is 1. It is not I less than j. Boss, what is I? I is at index number 0, right? So I ka value is 0. and J is at index number 4. So J is equal to 4, right? I and J are index locations, right? They are not the values. Try to understand, right? So now when J comes here, okay, I will check. ARR of I is 1 plus ARR of J is 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Is 2 divisible by 3? No, it is not divisible by 3. So let us move J forward. Okay. Now J comes at index number 5. So I am checking the pair 0, 5. Okay. ARR of 0 is 1 plus ARR of 5 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. Is 3 divisible by 3? Yes, it is divisible. So this is another valid pair. So I will do a count plus plus. So now I tell you, boss, when you have fixed the first pair, when you have fixed the first index as 0, I found two valid pairs. Okay. One was 0, 2 and the other was 0, 5. Do you all agree? भाई मैंने क्या किया? Try to understand. Fully confused. Okay. See, what have I tried to done? What have I tried doing here? देखो, मैं क्या किया हूं? I have taken a variable I and I have fixed it at location number 0. So I is equal to 0. Let's say that I have initialized I with 0. Okay. Now, when I make I is equal to 0, देखो मैंने ना I को 0 पे fix कर दिया है, ठीक है? So I am telling you this is the first value of my pair. I is equal to 0. ठीक है? अब मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Boss, I will start moving J from index number 1. Okay. So first of all, J will be here. Then I will move J here. Then J will come here. Then J will come here. Then J will come here. Okay. Now, when the value of J is equal to 1, okay, when the value of J is equal to 1, what is the pair that I am looking at? See, the pair that I am looking at will be I, J. The pair that I am looking at is index I, J. Okay. So if I have fixed index number I equal to 0, do you all agree that J should start from I plus 1 always? भाई मेरे को एक चीज बताओ, मैं बोल रहा हूं I will be looking at pairs I, J. तो अगर मैं बोल रहा हूं I am fixing I at index number 0, okay, तो J कहां से start होना चाहिए? I will look at 0, 1, then I will look at 0, 2, then I will look at 0, 3, I will look at 0, 4, I will look at 0, 5. Right? These are the pairs that I will be looking at when I am, fixing my starting variable at index number 0. Do you agree? भाई मैं बोल रहा हूं अगर I को मैंने फिक्स कर दिया है 0 पे, तो J will start from index number 1 and go all the way till the last index. Okay. Now what am I doing? See, I start J from value 1, from index number 1. Okay. So when the value of I को मैंने फिक्स कर दिया है 0 पे, right? And J has started at index number 1. So I am first of all considering this pair 0, 1. Okay. So I add both the numbers, ARR of 0 plus ARR of 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. Is 4 divisible by K? Yes, it can be done in better, Ankit, but not now. Okay. Is 4 divisible by K? No, not. Right? So I will move J forward. Ki boss, 0, 1 is not a valid pair. So let us move J forward. Let's see if 0, 2 is a valid pair. Right? Now J comes here at index number 2. Again, I sum up these two elements, ARR of I plus ARR of J. So 1 plus 2 is 3 and 3 is divisible by 3. That means this is a valid pair. So I will increase my count. I will increase my count. So my count will become 1. Why am I taking I less than J? That is the question, boss. That is the question. Okay. Next, what I will do? Boss, I have considered 0, 2, right? Now I will consider 0, 3. So I move my J further. Okay. Now J is at index number 3 and I is at index number 0. So I will check. 1 plus 6 is 7. Is 7 divisible by 3? No. So this is not a valid pair. Next, I will move my J forward. Okay. J comes at index number 4. Okay. Okay. 1 plus 1 is 2. Is 2 divisible by 3? No, it is not. I will move J forward. Now J comes at index number 5. Okay. Now 1 plus 2 is 3. And I see that yes, 3 is divisible by 3. So definitely this is another valid pair. 0, 5 is another valid pair. So I will do a count plus plus. तो मैं तुम लोगों को ये बोल रहा हूं कि once you have fixed the starting index as 0, there are two good pairs. One is 0, 2 and the other is 0, 5. Do you all agree with this? See, your count has become 2. That is, when you have fixed your I at 0, there are two good pairs that are possible for us. Okay? But now I tell you, boss, why are you fixing I is equal to 0? You can even take I is equal to 1 now. The first element of your pair can be at index 1. भाई कोई तुमको बोला है क्या कि only 0,1, 0,4, 0,5 can be your pair? You can get pairs like this also, 1,3, okay, 2,4. Pairs like this can also exist, right? So now I will move my I forward. So now I will come at index number 1. Now I comes at index number 1, okay? And once I have fixed I at index number 1, can you tell me where should J start from? J should start from I plus 1. So J will start from index number 2. J will start from index number 2. Okay. So now J starts from here. I first of all check. 3 plus 2 is 5. Is 5 divisible by 3? No, it is not divisible. So 1, 2 is not a valid pair. Let us move J forward. Then I consider 1, 3. 3 plus 6 is 9. Is 9 divisible by 3? Yes, 9 is divisible by 3. So this is another valid pair. So I will increase my count and my count will become 3. This is the third pair. Then I will move my J forward. Okay. And then I'm looking at the pair 1, 4. Okay. So 3 plus 1 is 4. Is 4 divisible by 3? No. I move my J forward. Okay. Then 3 plus 2 is 5. Is 5 divisible by 3? No. I move J forward. Done. That means when you have fixed your I is equal to 1, there is only one pair possible, which is 1, 3. And you have already added it to the count. Okay. Now tell me, winner, मेरे को एक चीज बताओ. If you have fixed I at index number 1, how can it make a pair with index 0? This is not a valid pair, right? 1, 0 is not a valid pair. So if you are fixing your first index to be 1, the second index will start from 2 and it will go all the way till the end. Okay. The second index, if you are talking of pairs I, j, then j is always greater than I. Okay. Next. Next, I will take and I will make I go to index number 2. So I will fix my first location to be index number 2. Okay. Now, where will J start from? J will start moving from index number 3. Okay. Here is I, here is J. Is this a valid pair? 2, 3. I will do. ARR of 2 is 2 and ARR of 3 is 6. 2 plus 6 is 8. Okay. Is 8 divisible by 3? No, it is not. Let us move J forward. Is 2, 4 a valid pair? Yes, it is. Because when you add ARR of I plus ARR of J, you will see that the sum is divisible by 3. So 2 plus 1 is 3, that is divisible. So what will happen? I will increase my count. Because this is another valid pair. Then I will again do a J plus plus. Okay. 2 plus 2 is 4. Is 4 divisible by 3? No. That means all pairs starting with index 2 are also done. Okay. Next, you will move I at location number 3. Okay. Now the value of I will be 3. Okay. Now the value of I is at 3. Okay. So I am choosing index number 3 to be the first one in my pair. Okay. So where will J start from? J will start from index number 4 and go all the way till the end. Okay. Is this a valid pair? 3, 4? No, because 7 is not divisible by 3. I move J forward. Is this a valid pair? No, because 6 plus 2 is 8, which is not divisible by 3. So when you fix the value of I as 3, there is no pair that you can make. Okay. Correct. Now, then the value of I will increase and I will say that boss, the value of I will be at index number 4. Okay. So I have fixed index 4 to be my starting number of my pair. So where should J start from? J will start from index number 5. Okay. Now, is this a valid pair 4, 5? Yes, it is a valid pair. Why? Because 1 plus 2 is 3, which is divisible by 3. So what I will do? I will do a count plus plus. Okay. So my count will increase and my count will become 5. This is the fifth pair. Okay. Now I will move J forward. Array is finished. Job done. Now I will move I forward. Now I have fixed I at index number 5. Okay. The first pair, the first number in my pair is index number 5. Now when I is 5, where you will start J from? I plus 1, right? But when you do J is equal to I plus 1, you will see that J is already outside the array. So you don't have any more pairs. Job done. And my count will be my final answer. Is the basic idea making sense? कि boss, you will fix I, and then for a given value of I, you will iterate J all the way from I plus 1 till n. That is the basic idea. कि भैया पहले मैंने इंडेक्स 0 को फिक्स किया है, अब I will all check all pairs 0,1, 0,2, 0,3, 0,4, 0,5. Then I will fix I equal to 1. I will check pairs 1,2, 1,3, 1,4, 1,5. So I am trying to check for all possible pairs that can be made. Then I check for pairs 2,3, 2,4, right? So let's say if my array is of size 5, right? Then you are checking all the pairs, right? 0,1, 0,2, 0,3, 0,4. Then you are checking pairs like 1,2, 1,3, 1,4. Then you are checking pairs like 2,3, 2,4. Then you are checking pairs like 3,4. That's it. These are the pairs that you are checking. Okay. Now let's code it up. Okay, so let's quickly code up, right? Why will we not iterate loop from j plus 1 to I? See, I is the starting index, boss. I to chota wala index hai na. So where will j start from? J will start from I plus 1 and it will go all the way till end, because the pairs that I am talking, this is I comma j. Okay. So what do? Let's quickly write the code. We can improve it more, but not now. When we learn about sorting, hashing, then we will see. Okay. So I have made a scanner. Okay. Let's take input int n is equal to sc.nextInt. Let's quickly write the code. Okay. And what is the second input? It is int k. Okay. Then let's make an array. Same code 18px. चलो कर देते हैं. अरे क्वेश्चन में दे रखा है I greater than j. कहाँ पे देके रखा है भैया? I less than j, right? So let's make an array. Okay. Now what I will do? Let us take input of the array from the user. For int I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Take the inputs. CRR of I is equal to sc dot next int. Okay, taken inputs. Now what I want to do? Let us make a count variable equal to 0. I haven't found any pairs till now. Okay. Now what I want to do? I want to iterate through the array, right? So first of all, let us make a loop for running I. So first of all, the value of I will be 0. Then I will go to 1. Then I will go to 3, 2. Then I will go to 3. Likewise, I will go till the last index. Okay. So this is a loop which will be changing the value of I. So I have fixed the first index as I. Now my first index of the pair has been fixed, right? Now what should be the second valid index of my pair? Once I have fixed the first index as I, what will I do? I will run another loop. J will start, right? And where will J start from? J will start from index number I plus 1. It will go all the way till the end of the array, J plus plus. Okay. And then what I will do? Now J will be moving all the way from I plus 1 till n. So now I am looking at a pair I comma j. Inside this loop, I am looking at a pair I comma j. So what will I check? If ARR of I plus ARR of j, right? If this summation, right, percentage k, okay? If this total summation percentage k is equal to 0, that means the summation is divisible by k. So what do I need to do? I will just do a count plus plus. I will do a count plus plus. Okay. That's it. Now you will iterate and check all the pairs. And if you find that, yes, the two numbers add up and they are divisible by k, so, it will just add up count plus plus. And outside this outer for loop, what can I do? I will do a system.out.println count. Okay. Is this making sense, guys? Let's try to run it with an example. Acha, those people who are telling why am I making I go till n minus 1? I should ideally go till n minus 2, right? But even if I make it go till n minus 1, right, that is not a problem. Okay, so 5 is coming. Let's try to submit it and see. Okay, so all the test cases passed here. Explain count, please. Count is nothing, right? Count is a variable that is helping me to keep the track of the number of pairs, right? So see, I have fixed, see, this loop will be making changes with the value of I, right? So first of all, the value of I will be 0. And for I equal to 0, I will move j from 1 all the way till the end of the array. And the moment I see that, yes, ARR of I plus ARR of j, the summation is divisible by k, then I will do a count plus plus. Ki boss, I have found a particular pair. Okay. No, not equal to k, right? The summation should be divisible by k, not equal to k. So if it has to be divisible by k, then the summation modulo k should be equal to 0. Okay. Why count plus plus? What do we want to do, guys? What do we want to do? When you are finding a particular pair, you want to increase the count, right? Because at the end of the day, what is the question asking you? To output the number of pairs that you have found. So the moment you see that this condition is true, I comma j is a valid pair now, right? So I will do a count plus plus, increase the count. Okay. How many of you are clear with what is happening? Can we take j is equal to 1 instead of I plus 1? No, you cannot. No, you cannot. See, guys, try to understand. Try to understand. देखो मैं क्या कर रहा हूं भैया, ध्यान से समझने का ट्राई करिए. ओके, let's take 8 7 6 5. Okay, so let's say my value of I is 1. That means I have taken this to be the first number of my pair. Okay, index number 1 is the first number of my pair. So definitely if you start j from 1 now or 0, that is wrong, right? You always have to start j from I plus 1. Okay, because the second index in your pair should be greater than the first index, right? If you have fixed the value of I, then j should always be greater than I. So I am starting j from I plus 1 and going all the way till the end. Okay. Line number 18 is nothing. This you are fixing the first index. Okay, you are fixing the value of I. And for a given value of I, you are iterating j all the way from I plus 1 till the end. तो भाई हो क्या रहा है, ध्यान से समझो. If you are looking at an array of size 5, right? So first of all, I'm just telling you what is happening, right? First of all, the value of I will be 0. I is here. And j will iterate all the way from 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So you will check 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4. Okay. Then the value of I will increase and I will come at index number 1. I will be equal to 1. And j will start from 2 and go all the way till index number 4. Okay. Then the value of I will become 2. Okay. And j will start from index number 3 and go all the way till index number 4. Then the value of I will be 3 and j will start from index number 4 and end here. Okay. Then the value of I will be 4. And when the value of I is 4, the inner loop will not even run. Okay. See, when the value of I is equal to n minus 1, the inner loop will not even run. Okay. Because j equal to I plus 1 karoge, to j will become equal to n, and n less than n, that will evaluate to be false. Okay. I equal to j cannot happen. The conditions that we have taken, I and j will never be equal. Okay. Cool, guys. एक बार आई एम जस्ट रिपीटिंग इन हिंदी क्विकली एंड देन विल मूव टू 2D arrays. ओके, तो हम लोग कुछ नहीं किए भैया, देखो क्या किए हम लोग. ये जो लूप है ना, इसमें वी आर फिक्सिंग द वैल्यू ऑफ आई. मैंने आई का वैल्यू फिक्स कर दिया है और आई क्या बोल रहा है, आई इज टेलिंग मी द इंडेक्स ऑफ माय फर्स्ट नंबर, राइट? ये जो पेयर है ना आई कॉमा जी, आई इज टेलिंग मी द इंडेक्स ऑफ द फर्स्ट नंबर. तो आई एम फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल फिक्सिंग द वैल्यू ऑफ आई. और जब मैंने आई का वैल्यू फिक्स कर दिया है ना, तो j क्या होगा, j शुड ऑलवेज बी ग्रेटर देन i. तो j विल स्टार्ट मूविंग फ्रॉम i plus 1 एंड इट विल गो ऑल द वे टिल द एंड. ठीक है, तो मान लो i का वैल्यू 0 है, तो j विल स्टार्ट फ्रॉम इंडेक्स 1, देन इट विल गो टू इंडेक्स 2, देन इंडेक्स 3, देन इंडेक्स 4, ऐसे करके. और जब भी j एक इंडेक्स पे होगा ना, दैट मींस आई एम लुकिंग एट द पेयर i, j. तो मैं चेक करता हूं कि बॉस ARR of i plus ARR of j, is this sum divisible by k? If it is divisible by k, then yes, I am looking at a valid pair. So what I will do, I just increase the count. Count is equals to count plus 1. Okay. And then outside these for loops, outside both these for loops, I can just simply print the value of count. Okay. Can we use another loop if initializing j equal to 0? No, 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 no. See guys, try to understand. I हम लोग का पहला index है. So I am fixing the value of I first. And for every value of I, j will run from I plus 1 till the end. Okay. Try to understand. J का value I पे dependent होगा. If the value of I is 2, then j will start from index number 3 and go till the end. Okay. Cool. So yeah, those of you who have not cleared, try to do a dry run, right? Try to do a dry run. You will understand what is happening. Okay. Boss, line number 14 is for taking inputs. Okay. We use j equal to 1. Can we add? Then we can add I less than j. You have to add, right? But that is not required, right? It can be made more simpler. Okay. I less than j. Where is that condition? भैया मेरे को एक चीज बताओ. Look at the for loop, right? J starting from I plus 1. So whatever is the value of j, that will always be greater than I, right? I have taken this into account. Okay. When I have fixed the value of I, na, तो j कहाँ से start हो रहा है? J is starting from I plus 1 and going till the end. So definitely always j will be greater than I. Okay. Cool. And here you can do a system.out.println count. Okay, guys, try to do a dry run once on your own also. Okay, so it will definitely become more clear. Try to submit it. Winner भैया बताया तो. It's in the loop. It's in the loop. Look at this j starting from I plus 1. Okay, cool. So now let's move to the 2D arrays, right? I think we have spent enough time, sufficient time. Okay. Yeah, you can print the pairs also. It is up to you, right? In this question, we were wanting to print the count only. But if you want, you can even print the pairs also. Okay. Now. Okay. And Jinjin को ये doubt है ना कि why have I done I less than n and not I less than n minus 1? Try to see, even if I do I less than n now, you don't run into any problem. Because when the value of I will be here, let's say I is at the last index now, then j will start from I plus 1 and you will see that this is not a valid index. So that inner loop will not run itself. Okay. So no problem in that. Okay. Let's come to the concept of two-dimensional arrays. Okay. So now let's try to understand a new concept, right? I have spent sufficient time on problem solving, right? Okay. Now let's try to understand this, right? So whatever arrays that we have talked about so far, right? We only talked about one-dimensional arrays. And what do I mean when I say a one-dimensional array? See, whatever array that we talked about, right? That was as simple as a simple array of integers, and that only had one dimension. This array only had one dimension, which was length. Okay. So whenever we made an array till now, every array had this attribute arr.length that was telling me how many elements you have in your array. So for this array that I have drawn here, arr.length will be 6 because the array is consisting of 6 elements. Okay. So this was one dimensional array that we spoke about till now. But we also have a concept of two-dimensional array. And see, why is this array one-dimensional? Because if you look at this array, right? If you look at this array, it only has one dimension, that is length. Only x-axis is there. Think of it like this, right? Only one dimension. Now, what is a two-dimensional array? Okay. Or why do we use two-dimensional arrays in the first place? For representing what kind of a data structure? So we all have studied about matrices. Do you all know about matrix? In mathematics, we have all studied about matrix, right? So the matrix was nothing, right? It was a simple data structure which had certain number of rows and certain number of columns, right? So in maths, you might have studied like this, ki boss, this is an M cross N matrix. This is a 3 by 3 matrix. That is, you have 3 rows and you have 3 columns. Okay. So in order to represent matrices, okay, we have studied that, boss, in maths, we have seen that whenever we talk of any matrix, right, what is associated with a matrix? Every matrix will have certain number of rows, let's say M rows, and every matrix will have certain number of columns, let's say M columns. So if I say that a matrix is an M cross N matrix, what do I mean to say? That, boss, my matrix has M rows and N columns. And what is the total number of elements here? If you have M rows and N columns, what is the total elements in this matrix? Can anybody tell me? If I am looking at an M cross N matrix, how many elements can this matrix store? Can I say M into N? Mn elements can be stored inside this matrix. Okay. So let's say that I tell you, boss, I have a 4 by 3 matrix. I have a 4 by 3 matrix. That is, you have 4 rows. You will have 4 rows, right? And every row will have 3 columns. So in total, 12 elements can be stored. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is a 4 by 3 matrix, 4 rows and 3 columns, right? And if you want to identify any element, okay, if you want to identify any element in a 2-dimensional matrix, then what do you know? What do you need to know to identify any element? You need to know the row number and you need to know the column number. अगर मैं तुमको बोलता हूँ, boss, identify what is the element here. Okay. How do you determine this location? You will have to tell me na, ki, boss, row number 3, column number 2. Go to row number 3, column number 2. And then I know that you are talking about this element 8. Do you all agree? That in order to uniquely determine a value in a 2D matrix, you need both the row number as well as the column number. If I just tell you, go to row number 3, then you will tell me, bhaiya, in row number 3, there are 3 columns. What is the number that you are wanting me to look at? So definitely you will have to tell me both the row number as well as the column number. So if I tell you, hey, Adarsh, go to row number 3 and look at column number 2, then I am talking about this number 8. Okay. So whenever you want to identify any element in a matrix, you need both the row as well as the column number. Okay. And in order to determine these structures, or in order to represent these matrix-like structures inside programming, we have the concept of a 2-dimensional array. Okay. We have the concept of a 2-dimensional array. So what is a 2D array? Think of a 2D array as simple as a matrix. Okay. तो मान लो मैं ऐसा बोलता हूँ कि boss, can you make a 2-dimensional arrays consisting of 3 rows and 4 columns? Okay. So think of it that for your understanding, you can treat your 2D array like this. 3 rows and every row will have 4 columns. As simple as this. You can treat your 2D array. Okay. So whenever somebody makes a 2D array, right, you will have to tell me how many rows and how many columns do you need to make. Okay. So if I tell you, boss, I'm talking of a 2-dimensional array having 3 rows and 4 columns. So for your understanding, you can just treat your 2-dimensional array like a matrix that will have 3 rows and it will have 4 columns. Okay. Now, whenever you make an array, whenever you make a 2-dimensional array, right? So by default, all the elements will be 0. By default, all the elements will be 0. So let's say I make a 2-dimensional array having 3 rows and 4 columns. So all the elements in all the 3 rows and 4 columns will be initialized with 0. Okay. So now you will ask me, hey, Adarsh, we have initialized a matrix, right? Or we have initialized a 2D matrix. Now, how do I change the value of a particular location? So first of all, you need to identify the location. And to identify the location, you need the row number and the column number. Okay. So whenever you make a 2D matrix, right? Whenever you make a 2D array, again, you have the concept of indexing coming into picture. Every row is given an index, right? So this is the row with index number 0. This is the row with index number 1. This is the row with index number 2. Indexing always starts from 0. Every row is given an index starting from index number 0. So the first row will have an index of 0. This row is having an index of 1. This is having a row index number 2. Okay. Similarly, every column will also be given an index starting from 0. So this first column has an index of 0. This second column has an index of 1. This third column has an index of 2. This fourth column has an index of 3. Okay. So if you are making an M cross N matrix, having M rows and N columns, the row indexes will be from 0 till M minus 1. And the column indexes will be from 0 till N minus 1. These are the valid indexes of the rows and columns if you are talking about a M cross N matrix. Now, if I want you to talk about this particular place, you know what I will say? Go to row with index 1 and go to the column with index number 2. That is, I am talking about the row with index number 1 and I am talking about the column with index number 2. So using the row and column indexes, I can uniquely identify a particular location in my or a particular place in my matrix. Okay. So if I want to talk about this first element, what will I say? Row number 0, column number 0. This is 0, 0. And if I want to talk of this last element, the bottommost element, can I say it is row number M minus 1, column number N minus 1? Can I say like this? Coordinates, correct. Coordinates, 2, 3. Right? So this is how we access elements in the two-dimensional matrix or a 2D array. Okay. So now, how do we first of all declare an array? How do we first of all make a two-dimensional array? Okay. So for one-dimensional array, we had a situation like this. The boss int ARR is equal to new int, and let's say I specified the size. The boss ARR is an array of integers and the length of the array will be 5. Okay. Now, what if I want to make a two-dimensional integer? Okay, or a two-dimensional array. Okay. So let's say I want to make a matrix of 4 cross 8, which will have 4 rows and 8 columns, right? So there are 4 rows and every row will have 8 columns. So in total, you can store 4 into 8, that is 32 elements inside your matrix. So how do I make this a 2D matrix? I say something like this, int, okay? And then because we are talking of a two-dimensional matrix, we place the square brackets like this 2 times, okay? So I am talking about an array of what? See, try to understand, guys. I was talking about an array of what? Integers, and the name was ARR. Now this time I am talking of an array of what? An array of one-dimensional arrays. Okay, so I am making a two-dimensional array in 2 dimensions, right? Let us give the name of the, whatever name you can give. Let us say that I am giving the name of the, 2D array as mat is equal to, I will tell you new int, and then I will tell you first of all the number of rows, and then I will tell you the number of columns. Okay. So what is this statement doing? This statement will basically make a 2D array of integers having 4 rows and 8 columns. So mat is a two-dimensional array of integers, right? Or it is a matrix having 4 rows and every row will have 8 columns. Now, okay. So what will happen? Think of it like this. You will have 4 rows. Every row will have 8 columns, right? So all will be, initialized with zeros. Every space will be initialized with zeros. Okay. Okay. Now, what if I want to print the contents of a particular location, right? Let's say I want to change 0, 1, 2, 3. I want to go to row with index 2, okay? And column with, let's say 0, 1, 2, 3. Column with index 3. And I want to change the value here to 8. So what I will do? How do I access a particular element? Mat of, within first brackets, I will specify the row index and then I will specify the column index. So if I am printing mat of 2, 3, I am telling you, boss, go to row with index number 2, go to column with index number 3 and print the contents of row with index 2 and column with index 3. So this 0 will be printed. What if I want to change this value to 8? I will say mat of 2, 3 is equal to 8. So here 8 will be written. Okay. So if I want to access the element at the ith row and jth column, right? I want to access the element in row number index, in the row with index I and column with index j. So what I will do? Mat of ij. Do you all understand this part? Mat of ij will give you the contents of row with index number I and the column with index number j. So you will print the element which is at index number I, j. Okay? Mat of ij. Yeah, again, they are both the same. They are both okay. Okay. Now, so this is how we basically make a two-dimensional matrix, right? Now, how do you print the contents of the matrix? The next question comes is, once you have made an array, or once you have made a matrix, right? Definition of a 2D array. A 2D array is nothing but as simple as a matrix. Think of a 2D array like an array of one-dimensional arrays. I will tell you. See, you can also imagine your 2D array to be like this. There are multiple one-dimensional arrays placed one below the other. So now do you agree there are two dimensions? There is a length and there is a breadth also. Something like this, right? There are rows and there are columns. Two dimensions are there, right? Real life example of a 2D array. So I don't know how many of you have heard about image processing, right? So whenever we deal with images, right? An image is nothing but it is a, it is a matrix of pixels. Okay. So whenever you see images or, whenever you see applications with image processing, right? You generally just have a two-dimensional grid having RGB values, okay, or the pixel values. So it's highly used in image processing matrices. Okay. Cool. And another example can be, let's say I want to store the marks of the students, okay, inside one matrix. I can have something like this. In row number 0, I will store the marks of history. Okay, let's say there are 5 students, right? So the first student got 50, second student got 40, third student got 88, fourth student got 45. Let's say there are 4 students. In the second row, I can store the marks of geography, okay, of these 4 students. In the third row, I can store the marks of, let's say, anything else, right? So you can club together multiple data inside the same matrix. Okay. So think of it like, why do I call it as a 2D array? Because if you see now, it is nothing but an array of one-dimensional arrays. Okay. This is your first 1D array. The second row will be the second 1D array. The third row will be your third one-dimensional arrays. So there are multiple 1D arrays inside a 2D array. Okay. Is contiguous memory needed? Not really, right? Every row will have contiguous memory, but these, the different rows might not have contiguous memory allocation, right? Yes, there can be a 3D array also. And how do you visualize a 3D array? You can visualize a 3D array like a collection of 2D arrays, right? There are multiple 2D arrays stacked up like this 3D structure. Okay. But yeah, now what if I want to print the contents of my matrix? Okay. Acha, there is another way, right? There is another way of declaring a 2D array, right? So see, do you remember this way of making a 1D array? Do you remember that this is also a valid way of making a one-dimensional array? So 3D array we won't be using. It's not used very frequently. So all our discussion will be related, limited to 2D arrays at the last, right? Now, another way of making a 2D array, right? One was the new int one that you saw. Another way of making a 2D array can be something like this. Int, you are looking at a two-dimensional array, okay? And within curly braces, you can specify, right? Again, see. Okay, when I make a structure like this, what I am telling, I am talking of a 2D array, right? It is having how many rows? See guys, this is one 1D array. This is another 1D array. So if you look at this structure now, what is this array? Look at these outer bigger brackets, right? Is it not an array of multiple one-dimensional arrays? देखो ना भैया, ये जो बड़ा array है, is this not an array consisting of two one-dimensional arrays? One is this 1, 2, 3, and the second array is this 8, 9, 11. So this is your first row, this is your second row. That is why I was telling that, boss, you can consider your two-dimensional array to be an array of one-dimensional arrays. See, this is one 1D array, this is the second 1D array. So multiple one-dimensional arrays put together is nothing but a two-dimensional arrays. Okay. Now, can you tell me, guys, when you did an ARR.length here, what did you get as output? ARR.length, can you tell me? 4? Because there are 4 integers, right? This was an array of integers. This was an array of integers. Now, what is this? What is this that we are looking at? This is an array of what? An array of one-dimensional arrays. This is an array of one-dimensional arrays. So if I do mat.length, what it will give me? Can you tell me? It will tell me how many 1D arrays you have inside your 2D array. Do you all agree? Bhaiya dekho na, when you did an ARR.length, it was telling you how many integers you had in your 1D array. So when you do a mat.length, it will tell you how many one-dimensional arrays you have inside this array. So do you all agree that mat.length will give you 2, which is nothing but the number of rows inside your matrix? Look, 1, 2, 3, this is one row. Okay, 8, 9, 11, this is the second row. So mat.length will tell me how many one-dimensional arrays are there inside my 2D array. And the number of one-dimensional arrays inside my 2D array will be nothing but the number of rows inside my matrix. So long story short, if you are looking at a 2-dimensional array, okay, by the name of mat, right, then mat.length will tell you how many rows you have in your matrix, the number of rows. Okay. And if I want to get the number of columns, how do I get it? Anybody, can you help me? See, can I tell you what is mat of 0? Mat of 0 is referring to this entire 1D array at the 0th index. Do you agree? Mat of 0 is referring to this entire 1D array at the 0th index. That is 1, 2, 3. So if I can get of how many elements are there in this 1D array, okay, the number of elements that are there in a particular row, that will be the number of columns. So if I say mat0.length, bhaiya mat of 0 kya hai? This entire 1D array. The number of elements in this 1D array is equal to the number of columns that are there in the matrix. So if you do a mat0.length, you will see how many columns are there in the matrix. Okay, which is 3 columns. Okay, let me just make some more slides. I'll repeat columns, don't worry. Okay, yeah, where was I? See, I was telling you, the long story short, what you have to remember is one way of declaring a matrix or making a matrix is like this. Int mat is equal to new int. Let's say you are specifying m and n. That means you are making a matrix with m rows and n columns, and all the entries will be initialized with 0. Okay. So the valid row indexes will be from 0 till m minus 1, and the valid column indexes will be from 0 till n minus 1. And if you have to now refer to any element, you can simply do mat of ij. That is ith row, jth column. Okay, row with index number I and column with index number j. Okay. Now, what I am telling you is, you can treat your matrix, you can treat your 2D array to be a collection of multiple one-dimensional arrays. Let's say we are making an array 4x3 2D matrix, right? Let's say we have made a 2-dimensional array of 4 cross 3. So there are 4 rows and every row is having 3 columns. So what I am telling you is you can visualize your 2D array as multiple one-dimensional array. See, this is one-dimensional array. Okay, I'll use different colors. Okay, then you can think that this is your second one-dimensional array. Okay, then you can think of it like this is your third one-dimensional array. Okay, then you can think like this is your fourth one-dimensional array. So a 2-dimensional array is nothing but multiple one-dimensional arrays placed one after the other. At least that is how you can do some understanding. Okay, so what I am telling you is, see, mat of ij is one way of accessing the elements. Okay, now the other way, what I am telling you is, you will understand better. Okay, so the another way of making a 2-dimensional array is something like this. Int mat, and within curly braces, I can specify the numbers. Okay, so let's say I specify that boss, in the first row, I will have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, my second row will consist of 8, 25, and 4. Okay, my third row will consist of, let's say, 8, 7, 6. Okay, my fourth row will consist of, let's say, 6, 5, 4. Okay, and then you end. So what I am telling, see, my mat is an array of what? An array of multiple one-dimensional arrays. Dekh lo, boss. Mat is an array. An array of what? This is my first one-dimensional array. This is my second one-dimensional array. This is my third one-dimensional array. This is my fourth one-dimensional array. So this is an array of multiple one-dimensional arrays. So if you do a mat dot length, it will tell you how many one-dimensional arrays you have. How many? This is one 1D array. This is another 1D array. Third, fourth. So there are 4 one-dimensional arrays. And you all understand, right? The number of one-dimensional arrays is nothing but the number of rows. So mat dot length, whenever you do a mat dot length, you know that that will tell you how many rows you have in your matrix. Okay. And if I want to get the number of columns, how will I get? See, this is a 2D array, right? So if I tell you what is mat of 1, mat of 1 is basically this 1D array. So I am talking of the row with index number 1. So the number of elements in this row is the same as the number of columns. So mat of 1 is talking about this 1D array. So if I want to find the length of this one-dimensional array, it will tell me how many elements are present in row number 1, which will tell me how many columns are there in the matrix. So long story short, mat dot length will tell you the number of rows, and mat of I dot length will tell you the number of columns. Okay. Now, what I am telling you, is it possible to have each row having different number of columns? Okay, good question. So if you declare and initialize your matrix like this, okay, if you adopt this method of making a matrix, then every row will have the same number of columns. Okay. You cannot have an option ki row number 0 have 3 columns, row number 1 have 5 columns. No. If you make a matrix like this, every row will have n columns. Okay. It's mat, right? It's the name of the matrix. But if you want every row to have different columns, now you can make a matrix like this. Int, let's say variable is matrix. You can do like this. The first row has 2 columns. Okay. The second row, let's say, has 3 columns. I don't care, right? This is also a valid 2-dimensional array in which the first row consists of only 2 columns. The second row consists of only 3 columns, right? So this is what we call as a jagged array. Jagged. Okay. This is a multi-dimensional array, but every row has different number of columns. Okay. Now, for 2D array, array.length will work. Array.length will tell you the number of rows, right? It will tell you how many rows are there. Okay. Okay. Now, what I want to do is, how do I iterate and print the contents of the matrix, right? What will be the value of matrix 0, 2? If you want to do matrix 0, 2, it will give you an error, right? It will give you an error. Because for row with index 0, there is no index 2. So it will give you a runtime error. Okay. अब इसमें column length कैसे निकलेगी? When you are, see, how do you print a matrix? First, let's discuss that. No, you cannot make a jagged input using a user array, user input, right? Not like that. Okay. Now, let's say that you have an array. Jagged array is nothing but a 2-dimensional array in which every row is having different number of columns. Okay. Now, let's say this is the array. This is the 2-dimensional array matrix that we have. Okay. The name is matrix. Okay. I want to print the contents of this matrix. So how do I do? I will iterate like this. Okay. First of all, I will print the contents of this row. Then I will print the contents of this row. Then I will print the contents of this row. This is how I want to print the matrix. So what do I do? Can anybody help me? I will need nested loop. First of all, I will come to row with index 0. And when I am standing on this row, I will iterate through all the columns. Then I will come to row with index 1. And when you are standing on row with index 1, again, you will move through all the columns, right? So how do I print a matrix? Let us try to understand using nested loops. For int I equal to 0. So first of all, I will start with the row with index 0. Until where should I go? I less than. What is the last row index? Can I say mat dot length? This will tell me how many rows I have. Do you all agree? Yes. So mat dot length will be 3. So I will start at index number 0, then take a value 1, then take a value 2. So I will basically be my row index. Okay. Now what do I mean? I am standing at row I. I am standing at row with index number I. Okay. Now what do I want to do? I am standing at the row with index number I. So now I want to iterate over the columns. अब मेरे को एक एक करके column के through iterate करना है. So what I will do? Let us run another loop. For int j is equal to 0, j will start at column number 0. And till where should j go? What? Where should j go? Can anybody help me? Can I say, because I am at row with index I, how many columns does it have? Mat of I dot length. Can I tell you that this will give you the number of columns? Do you agree? Boss, you are at row number I, right? So mat of I, you are talking about that 1D array. So when you do mat of I dot length, it will give you how many columns are there in that particular row. So you start from index 0 and you go all the way till the last column index, and then you do a j plus plus. Jaga kam pad gaya, but you understand, right? Now what I will do? First of all, j will be at index 0. So my row is I is equal to 0, j is equal to 0. So I will, what I will do? System.out.print ARR of ij or mat of ij. Sorry. Okay. So I will print the element at index number 0, 0. Then j will come to index number 1. And I will print mat of 0, 1, that is 9 will be printed. Then j will come at index number 2, 5 will be printed. Then j will come at index number 3, 0, 3, that is 8 will be printed. Okay. Now tell me guys, once this entire loop has terminated, can I say that I have printed the contents of the first row? Yes. Now what will happen? This loop has terminated, I plus plus will happen. So now you come to row with index number 1. And again, j will start from 0, go all the way till the last column, and you will print the contents one by one. So is everyone able to follow how we are printing the contents of the matrix? Why not j equal to 1? Because the column indexes are starting from 0, right? Okay. So now let's quickly write the code for taking an input of a matrix from the user and printing the contents of that matrix back to the user. Simple. Okay. Cool. Why mat of I dot length? Because see, why mat of I dot length? Try to understand. When you are at the ith row, how many numbers are there in that row? Mat of I basically tells you what is the 1D array. And when you do a mat of I dot length, it will tell you how many integers you have in the ith row. Okay. So the number of entries you have in the ith row, those are the number of columns. So j will start from 0 and it will go all the way till the last column. Okay. So let's say if there are 5 columns, right? Then mat of I dot length will be 5. So j will go from index 0 till index 4. Okay. Can we use a while instead of a loop to take input? See, while taking inputs, I think using a for loop is more convenient. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Let's quickly write up a code. Acha guys, let's try to code it up, right? So what I want to do is basically I will take the input from the user. Ki boss, how many rows, how many columns your matrix will have. And then I will make a matrix and I will take the input of all the numbers of the matrix from the user. Okay. So let's start. Mat.length is rows, correct. Mat.length will tell you how many rows are there, and mat of I.length will tell you how many columns are there in the ith row. Okay. So import okay. So I have made a scanner. Now let's take the input from the user, m rows. So I am making an m cross n matrix, right? So first of all, the user has given how many rows he wants. Then he will give the number of columns. Okay. What's the time? 9:45. Okay, I think we will be able to do this. Okay. Now, I first of all have to make a two-dimensional matrix of m cross n. So let us make it int. I have a 2D matrix, mat, new int, m rows, n columns, right? Are gym questions sufficient for see, gym questions are very good, right? You can try using them, right? Lead code also, we will tell you what all questions you have to do. Okay. For the time being, I think gym questions are good. You can try focusing on that, right? But yeah, I think one important thing that I wanted to tell you guys is, right? So I was talking about a contest this weekend, right? But it seems like on the platform that we are planning to have the contest, you just have function completion problems, right? So for that, I think we'll try to postpone the contest for this weekend, right? Because once we know the function completion method, right, then we can have a contest better. Okay. तो लीड कोड में क्या होता है, फंक्शन आपको कंप्लीट करना पड़ता है. सो टू नेक्स्ट वीक यू विल अंडरस्टैंड फंक्शन कंप्लीशन आल्सो. ओके. जिम क्वेश्चन करके एक्टिव जॉब का M1. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. आई you might have not got the concepts properly, or might not have, because the gym questions are good. I have had a look at the gym questions. They are genuinely good. Okay. Sorting will be done, bro. It will be done next week or something. Okay. Yeah. We can write any name. Okay. So I have made an array. Now I want to take the input from the user of this entire matrix. Okay. So what do I want to do? Again, first of all, I will take the contents of row 0. Then I will take the contents of row 1. Then I will take the contents of row 2 and things like this. Okay. So let me make a loop. For int I is equal to 0, I less than mat.length, I plus plus. So I am moving over the rows. Okay. So first of all, I key value is 0. That is, I am standing at row number 0. Now, I need to take the input of row number 0 from the user. So I will prompt the user for n different inputs for row number 0. So let us make another loop. For int j is equal to 0, j less than n, j plus plus. Okay. So now j will start from 0. J will go up till n minus 1 inclusive. And what I will do, I will take the input. So mat of ij is equal to sc dot next int. And this is how we take the input of a matrix from the user. Okay. Is this understanding making sense, guys? How we are taking input of matrix from the user? If you do I less than m also, that is also fine, right? I am just telling. If you want, you can write here m also, because you know that there are m rows, right? ले सकते बिल्कुल. Okay. So see, what have I done? I am first of all taking the inputs from the user, right? So I have made a two-dimensional, I made a 2D array, okay, of m rows and n columns. Okay. Let's say that we are talking of a 4x3. Okay. Now what am I doing? I am starting for I equal to 0. So I will be at 0. I is here. Okay. And then I start j from 0. So j will be here. Okay. I take an input from the user, fill it here. Okay. Then j will come here. I take another input from the user, I fill it in 0, 1, that is here. Then j comes here. I take input from the user, fill it here. Okay. Then I plus plus will happen. I come to the second row. Again, j starts from index 0. So row number 1, column number 0. I take an input, I write it here. Then j will move here. I take an input, write it here. J will move here. Take an input, write it here. Then again I plus plus will happen. Then I will take the inputs for this row. Then I will take the inputs for this row. Okay, so row wise we are taking input. So I is basically iterating over the row numbers, and for every row, j is iterating through all the columns. Okay. Why did I not write mat of I dot length? Because I know that every row is having n columns. So I can simply use j less than n. Okay. So I have taken the input from the user. Now what do I want to do? Achha, let's do a very simple thing, right? Let's print the contents of the matrix back to the user, right? I just want to print the contents back to the user. So let's start for. Again, I will be printing row wise. So my I will be iterating through the rows. Okay. Now for a given value of I, that means I am standing on row number I. Okay. Sorry, N. Correct. Okay. So I am standing on row number I. So I want to print the contents of this particular row. So what I will do, let us iterate over this row. Let us start from column number 0 and go till the last column. Okay. So J will start from index 0 and go till all the way till the last column. And what will I do? I will print what I will print, mat of ij. That is ith row, jth column I am printing. Okay. So once this for loop runs, do you agree that you will be printing the contents of row number I on the same line? I will have successfully printed the contents of row number I on the same line. Do you agree? देखो ना भैया, I is equal to 0. Okay. So J will start from 0. So first of all, you will print mat of 0, 0. Then you will print mat of 0, 1. Then you will print mat of 0, 2. Then you will print mat of 0, 3. Then you will print mat of 0, 4. Likewise, you will print all the contents of row number 0, separated by space. Now, once I come outside this for loop, do you agree that you have printed the contents of line number I? Do you agree that you have printed the contents of line number I in the same line? Next, what do you want to do? I just want to move to the next line. So what I will do? That's it. Okay. So this is one of ways of printing a matrix so that you are able to understand properly what is happening. So now let's try to run and see. So it's waiting for an input. Let's say I'm making a 3 cross 5 matrix. Okay. So let's enter 3 cross 5, right? So I'll have 3 rows and every row will have 5 columns. So let's just put anything. 5 columns ho gaya isme. Let's enter the second row. 0, 9, 6, 7, 8. This is my second row. Let's enter the third row. 1, 6, 5, 8, 9. Okay. Now once I enter, what will happen? All these contents will be stored in the matrix and this matrix should be printed again back to me. Okay. Let's see. See guys, this was my input matrix and I have printed the contents of the matrix back to you. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 0, 9, 6, 7, 8, 1, 6, 5, 8, 9. Okay. Why 31 gives space? Try to understand what has happened. Let's say that you are at row number 0. Okay? बताता हूं. Let's say this is my matrix. Okay, this is my matrix. Now try to understand, guys. I am starting my loop I equal to 0. So I ki value is 0. Okay. And where does J start from? J starts from 0. I don't know. There is something really wrong with the... Wait, guys. I think I'll have to go to the PPT. Any numbers I'm taking, right? Okay. So this is my two-dimensional array, right? 3 rows and every row is having 4 columns. So what have we done? We have written code like this, right? For I equal to 0, I less than number of rows, I plus plus. And then what we have done for every row, right? I have fixed the value of I. So I am on row number I. So what do? J starts from 0. J goes till the last column, J plus plus. And what I am doing? I am doing system.out.print mat of ij. And I am putting a space after this. Okay. And once I have done with this loop, I am doing a system.out.println. Okay. Now let's try to understand what is happening. Okay. So first of all, the value of I will be 0. Okay. And J starts from index 0. So first of all, J ka value will also be 0. So what do I print? I print mat of 0, 0. And what is mat of 0, 0, guys? What is mat of 0, 0? 1. Okay. So 1 will be printed and I print a space. So my cursor is here itself, right? Then the value of J will become 1 and I print mat of ij. What is the value of I? 0. And J ka value is 1. So 0, 1, that is 2 will be printed. So I print 2 and I print another space, right? Then J gets incremented to 2. Okay. Again, I print mat of ij. So mat of 0, 2 kya hoga? 3. So I print 3. I put a space. Then the value of J will become 3. I print mat of ij. That is 0, 3 is this thing 4. Okay. So 4 is printed. Now, again, I print a space and now I will see that yes, J has reached the end of the first row. I have iterated through all the columns. So what do? I come outside this loop and I print a system.out.println so that I can go to the next line. So my cursor goes to the next line. Then I plus plus happens. So when I plus plus happens, I ka value becomes 1. That is, I am looking at the row with index number 1. I am at this row. Now what will happen? Again, J will start from 0. Okay. So what is mat of ij? Mat of 1, 0. That is 8. So 8 will be printed. Again, I print a space. Okay. Then J ka value will become 1. So mat of 1, 1 will be printed, which is 7. Again, a space is printed. J comes to 2. Mat of 1, 2 is printed, which is 6. Are you guys getting what is happening? Okay. Cool. So that is how we print the contents of a matrix. Okay. Now, there is no value of row M and I, right? There is no value of row M. What does it mean? I didn't get the question. Can we merge two separate linear arrays? Definitely you can. We'll see that later, right? How to get, see, if you have that kind of, ठीक है, जो आप बोल रहे हो, how to get column in such case, you can simply do na, for int I equal to 0, I less than ARR dot length, I plus plus, for int j equal to 0, j less than ARR of I dot length. ARR of I dot length will give you the columns. Okay. Okay. So 2 times loops I have used for taking inputs and 2 nested loops I have used for printing the outputs. Okay. Cool. Now I'll leave you guys with one homework, right? I'll leave you guys with one homework. So think of a chessboard. Okay. Think of a chessboard. And this question was asked in one module test. I remember one of the students had asked me. Okay. So think of it like a chessboard, right? All of you have seen a chessboard. What does a chessboard look like? It is having certain rows, certain columns, and you have squares, right? And what has happened? You have alternate black and white squares. Okay. So what I am telling you, let's assume that this time you have a special chessboard, right? So, you know, alternate entries are green and black. Okay. So you have been given an M cross N 2D matrix, and the first cell, the topmost left cell is green in color, right? The topmost left cell is green in color. And all adjacent, you know, you leave one space, they are all green in color. Okay. Like this. Okay. So no two adjacent cells will be of the same color. So you have alternate green and black. Okay. Now every cell also has a particular number. Every cell has a particular number. Okay. So let's say here you have an 8, here you have a 7, here you have a 5. So every cell has a number. Now what I want you guys to do is, I want you guys to find out the sum of all the green squares. I want you to find the sum of all the green squares. So what is the question? You have been given an M cross N matrix and the topmost left cell is green in color and every other alternative cell is green in color. So can you find the sum of all the elements which are on the green cells? Okay. The topmost left cell will be green in color and every other alternate cell will be green in color. Is the question clear to everyone? This is your homework. Yes. So let's say in this example, what should be my output? Can anybody help me? What should be my output for this cell, for this matrix? What should be my output? What is the sum of all the numbers on the green cell? 8 plus 5, 13. 13 plus 0, 13. 13, 8, 21. 28, 33, 34, and 42. So 42 should be my output. Okay. So this is one homework question, right? Okay. So this is homework question number 1. And question number 2 will be, you have a square matrix. Okay. You have a square matrix. You have an N cross N square matrix available to you. What I want you to print is, print the sum of the diagonal elements. Everyone understands what is a diagonal? If I am talking about a square matrix, what is a diagonal? This is a diagonal. These 3 elements are a part of the diagonal. So given an N cross N square matrix, print the sum of the diagonal elements. So I want to get the sum of all the elements that are present on the principal diagonal. Okay, cool. So please try these 2 questions yourself. Okay. And tomorrow we'll discuss these 2 questions and we'll start off with strings, right? And weekend we'll do some problem solving. Okay. Cool, guys. I'll share the code in the document so you can refer to it. And let's stop sharing. What to do in subarray sum properties? We will see, right? We'll take questions. Don't worry. Okay. So hopefully you were clear with today's class and problem solving. And yeah, please try to do these 2 questions as homework. And we'll meet tomorrow and discuss this further. Okay. Chalo guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. This document link not shared. Okay. I'll share the link with you all today itself. Okay. Cool. Good night. I'll share the link of both the questions. I'll type out the question and share it on Discord. Okay. Chalo guys. Bye.